My name is Tosing Omolaja, and you're welcome to NAFDAC and your else, where we bring you all the important information you need to know about NAFDAC. The agency is saddled with the responsibility of safeguarding our health by ensuring that the foods, drugs, cosmetics, and medical equipment made available to us are safe and wholesome.
On today's edition of the program, we will be touching on the subject of governance in NAFDAC and how the different corporate governance policies of the Professor Adeyeye-led management has transformed the agency positively. Governance refers to mechanisms, processes, and practices by which an organization is run. The central purpose of having good governance is the effective management of such organization for sustainable growth and development.
When I joined NAFDAC, we had 13 directorates. So the lab now, with 3 additional directorates, it became 16. The legal became a directorate, 17. And then the registration and regulatory affairs had only 1 directorate. It is almost scary to even think what we went through the first 2 years. We register thousands of products every year. We renew thousands of products every year. I'm talking of drugs, not to talk of more thousands of food products. And for one person, one director, to be managing all those, mind-boggling. So we divided the registration and regulatory affairs to food and drug. But we couldn't do that on our own. We had to we have to apply to the head of service. And the head of service sent, they investigated, they went through all our formations to know whether we need to have more directorates. So it is not just what me as the DG wanted, it is whether what I wanted is what each head of service office also see. And they approved us now. They approved us, so we have 18 directorates.
Another essential part of NAFDAC that got restructured for better outcomes, which in fact is at the heart of the agency's structure, are its laboratories.
Decentralization of the lab into 4 directorates is one of the outcomes of restructuring of NAFDAC for better governance. Effective management needs a lot of focus, strategic planning, and when I joined NAFDAC, we had about 450 staff in our different laboratories, 7 laboratories, and we had only 1 director. And I said, no wonder the lab was not working. Because how can you manage 450 people in 7 locations across the country? So that is why I knew that we had to break the labs into smaller units for effective management. If you send a sample to the lab, and let's say it's Kaduna or Maiduguri, and it is only 1 person that is going to sign off on that, you can imagine how long it will take. So it is common sense, simple management platform or skill that was applied. And that has changed the laboratory outcomes positively. But it is not just that too. This is civil service organization. Our staff need to get fulfillment in terms of development, career development. So instead of 1 director, we have 4 directors. That is a good thing for a workforce.
Overall, Professor Adeyeye, in alignment with the federal government's vision of entrenching ease of doing business within our polity, had to re-evaluate every aspect of the agency's operations.
3.5 years ago, everything was, registration was centralized. Food, drug, everything was centralized, Lagos or Abuja and Abuja. And when you talk of ease of doing business, there couldn't have been a good outcome. So we decided to have zonal directors. We decentralized our food registration to the zones because those are where the clients are anyway. It is the zones and the states. Then we created, through the approval, all these things also have to go through the NAFDAC Council. There is nothing that goes, that I do that will not, in terms of management, in terms of regulations and rules and things like that, that don't have to go through council or through head of service. So we decentralized our food registration to the zones and then created Lagos State Office because of the so many MSMEs in Lagos.
When she came, she saw we had a lot of bottlenecks and the bureaucracy was a lot. It's not intentional, but we have a lot of applications. We have, apart from the MSME sector, we also have the large players too. And so she came and saw the importance of having to decentralize. When you look at the statistics, and I'm sure she did look at the statistics, she discovered that Lagos had the highest number of MSMEs. So she felt that she needed to remove the MSMEs from the center because most of the technical directories are in Lagos. So trying to register their products with all the big players would have been difficult for those in Lagos, considering, like I said, there are over 90-something% of people dealing in that sector. So she created this office. She introduced a number of incentives. There was a 50% reduction. There was encouraging accepting shared facility for those who didn't even have facilities to even produce. She even went to the extent of saying kitchen scale you could actually produce in your kitchen as long as the product was low risk and dry. We had to explain to them how that could work out. Then we also had expedited process.
The creation of regional directorates has revolutionized the agency in such proportions that had never been experienced before, both for MSMEs and other sections of NAFDAC operations.
We now have 6 other directors manning these zones. This has worked very well for us in terms of time to approve a food product. We gave 90 days for PEBEC for food and 120 days, working days, not calendar days, 120 days for drugs. And by and large, NAFDAC has been able to meet the 90-day deadline or timeline. So the governance, extremely important, and creation of zonal directorates or additional directorates for labs and food registration as food and drug registration have worked positively for us.
In the North Central, as with other zones, the agency has now gotten closer to the people for whose health it was set up to safeguard.
Principally, we carry out every activity that has to do with the agency, namely inspection, documentation. Inspection comprises of good manufacturing practices, inspection, good distribution practices, good warehousing practices, and we also ensure that products that are micro, small, and medium, MSME products are registered at the zone. All food products and cosmetics that are micro scale are registered in the zone. On monthly basis, we have a zonal approval meeting, and we also carry out the renewal process for all the water certificates that have been issued. So this gives seamless activities. There is no more delay in the work that we carry out.
The creation of zonal offices and and the LSO, or Lagos State Office, has impacted MSMEs positively. The time to get product approved is now within 90 days, which was not there before. In fact, when I joined NAFDAC, there were 6,000 applications backlogged that were not processed. And because of our own new culture, that is not the case again. But those 6,000 applications, we cleared them in 2 months because of our new approach to working together and making sure that we satisfy our customers.
NAFDAC and your health will be right back. Please stay tuned. Welcome back. If you are just joining us, you are watching NAFDAC and your health.
Professor Adeye's restructuring achievements also extends to improvements in the agency's capacity to carry out prosecution of offenders.
This restructuring has impacted positively on the agency. The legal unit directory was also upgraded. It was just a unit, as it were, under the digital office, but not a directorate, in order to meet up with legal challenges, and at the same time, with necessary complement of staff, it has now been possible to handle legal matters. Legal matters that ordinarily we have given out to external solicitors are now handled by our staff. So this has helped us greatly. Behind
All this creation of directorate is maintaining or creating a quality system. You cannot have all these directorates if you don't have a quality system. And that is where our quality management system came in. We started our quality management system training March of 2018 because without a staff thinking of, how will what I'm doing affect the customer? How will this make the image, how will this make NAFDAC better? Without all those behind the thinking, we cannot have a quality system. We cannot have a strong governance. So all of us went through this training before March of 2018 to June of 2019 when we got our accreditation, our ISO 9001 accreditation. So we became an SOP-driven organization. We became more conscious of timelines. We think more of our customers. We think more of the image of the agency. All these add up to governance, good governance.
The wave of good governance and quality management system in NAFDAC goes beyond the creation of new directorates to strengthening existing ones. The finance and accounting structure of the agency, for example, got a rejig, and it has indeed paid off in unbelievable measures.
It has been very, very wonderful. It has been wonderful in the sense that a lot of modifications have been put in place. I can say without missing words that Professor Adeye herself can be regarded as an accountant because immediately she came into power in 2017, she brought a lot of innovations into the procedures and processing in finance and accounts. And if I may say, in the last 3 years, a lot of things are already in place, and finance and accounts is no longer the finance and account that we used to know. Look at the issue of a budget. The impress system that we used to know in NAFDAC is a thing of the past now. In place now, what we have is a budget allocation. This budget allocation is a way of every quarter an amount of money will be given to the directors, and the directors are the people that oversee the different directorates that we have in NAFDAC. The idea behind that is that it is believed that the directors, they are they will be the better users of this budget allocation. When we talk about prudence, our DG is very, very prudent. It is no longer business as usual. A lot of cost-saving mechanisms are in place.
In the same vein, the DG has also boosted the CRIA scheme. The Clean Report Inspection and Analysis Scheme, CRIA, was designed to ensure that exports from other countries intended for shipment to Nigeria are inspected and certified before leaving the originating countries. Professor Adeyeye, on taking the helms of the agency, took the scheme several notches higher to guarantee its effectiveness.
Sometime last year, 2020, before the COVID era, the current DG NAFDAC, Professor Adeyeye, decided to look at the scheme again and then strengthen the scheme to ensure that it performs its functions very efficiently and effectively. As a result of that, February 2020, we had a rejigging of the scheme to include vetting of the performance of these CRI agents to be sure that they performed as required from them in their guidelines. Now, the CRI agents, what they do is that they go for inspections in manufacturing facilities for goods that are expected to be exported to Nigeria, inspect those goods, and then draw samples and send the samples to the NAFDAC-approved laboratories. These laboratories conduct tests on these products, certify that they are okay, they are fit for consumption, they have quality and standards, and then issue a laboratory report on them. If the laboratory report is satisfactory, the CRI agents issue a CRI report. This CRI report is sent to the importer, and the importer presents to NAFDAC during clearance of goods. Now, this scheme has really helped in controlling the inflow of fake, substandard, and unregistered products. Between February 2020, when we strengthened this scheme, till date, we have had about 65 intended exports to Nigeria prevented from coming into the country, because when they were tested, we discovered that the labs discovered that they were of poor standards, of low quality, and so they were prevented from entering into the country. These pre-shipment activities has really helped us in ensuring that standards are maintained by these manufacturers. Where products are inspected, consignments are inspected, the CRI agents have been trained by us to ensure that they follow our labeling guidelines, follow our regulatory regulations to ensure that those products meet those requirements before they are shipped into the country. We have also gone a step further to automate the CRI reporting system such that the CRI reports are transmitted to us real time.
Time now for NAFDAC updates, our bulletin on NAFDAC's activities across the nation.
NAFDAC new council chair visits NAFDAC formations in Lagos. The new chairman of NAFDAC Governing Council, Alhaji Yusuf Suleiman Dan Amar Sokoto, recently toured NAFDAC formations across Lagos to familiarize with the agency's operations and to assess its capacity and needs. The tour began at the Central Laboratory, Yaba, where the chairman and other council members in attendance were given first-hand presentations on how the laboratories operate, and also given a tour of the laboratories where they saw first-hand some of the state-of-the-art equipment recently purchased by the agency. Afterwards, the entourage moved to the Lagos headquarters and thereafter a tour of the Central Laboratory Oshodi to see the state of the agency's food laboratory. NAFDAC Director General reassures MSME sector of its commitment to registration timelines. The Director General of NAFDAC, Professor Mojisola Adeyeye, has responded to queries from some quarters about duration of registration for MSMEs in the country.
Because we do e-registration now, the COVID-19 didn't make things easier at all for both NAFDAC and MSMEs, because there was a lot of lockdown, so they couldn't even come to our office because we were also we have very, very few staff. But now things are becoming more normal. We are there, they will come to the office. Our staff have been trained on how to use our NAPAMS e-registration portal to help MSME to register. In terms of time to approve a particular product, NAFDAC is actually doing well. Because PEBEC shows that we still keep to the 90 working days timeline. But we could do better, meaning instead of 80 days, it could be 60 days. But we also have to let the MSMEs know that 90 working days is about 4.5 months. So they should not be too, what would I call it? Concerned if their product is not approved within 3 months and so on. Another thing is if we give them a compliant directive, meaning for them to correct something, if they don't correct it well, or if it takes them time to correct, then it adds to the time to approve. So it is always good to dialogue with NAFDAC, to know somebody you can call. And again, I want to emphasize, the official fee is the official fee. No staff should ask any MSMEs for any money. If they ask, the MSME should complain, because we also want to be sure that we don't burden, aside from the moral part of it, we don't overburden our MSMEs with unofficial fees. So no MSME should pay unofficial fees. Our fees are paid through the remitter portal. So there is no exchange of money. There shouldn't be exchange of money between an MSME individual or entity and NAFDAC staff. So that way we are also supporting them in terms of making good use of their money.
That's it on NAFDAC Update. You've been updated.
That's our package for today. Please join us same time, same station next week for a fresh edition. In the meantime, if you have comments, complaints, or you want to report activities of fake drugs or adulterated food product peddlers, our doors are always open.
You can reach NAFDAC via toll-free numbers. For inquiries, call 0700 162 3322. For complaints, call 0800 162 3322. You may also email NAFDAC at nafdac.gov.ng. If you have complaints about any form of misconduct, you can reach the Reforms Unit via email, reforms@nafdac.gov.ng, or call the Reforms hotlines on 0909 763 0506 or 0909 763 0507. NAFDAC, customer focused, agency minded.
Remember, COVID-19 is real. Please ensure you and your family follow the safety measures as outlined by the NCDC. Stay away from crowded places as much as possible. If you must be out there, wear a face mask. Wash your hands regularly with soap and water, and ensure you use only NAFDAC-approved alcohol-based hand sanitizers. See you next week. Stay safe.